Some houses are haunted, some houses are hungry, and some houses do something worse. They plan. This is Whisper Loop. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, if a floor plan didn't match your walls, would you stay long enough to find out why? I didn't. My job was to sell the story, not live inside it. I was the agent assigned to a property that nobody wanted to mention by address. In our office, we called it the 6 room, because the rumor was always the same. The family who lived there didn't all leave together. No gore, no dramatic headlines, just a chain of misfortunes, one after another, until the house felt like a place you couldn't survive by accident. Then renovations happened. Fresh paint, new tiles, new doors, a clean mouth over an old set of teeth. I brought my client, Derek, on a Sunday afternoon. He was an investor, confident, greedy in the practical way, convinced that fear is just a discount. We walked the ground floor. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, a small storage closet, 5 spaces that made sense. Derek nodded. See? Normal. I handed him the floor plan. It's been updated. I lied, because that was the line. That night, Derek called me. He sounded amused. Your floor plan's wrong, he said. I frowned. How? There's another door, he replied. A pause. Not outside, he added. Inside, at the end of the hall. It wasn't there earlier. My stomach tightened. Are you sure? I asked. He laughed. I'm not drunk. It's a door. It's painted the same color as the wall, like it's trying to pretend. I drove over. By the time I arrived, the hallway looked normal. 4 doors in a row, 1 closet panel, nothing unusual. Derek stood there, irritated. It was right here, he insisted, palm on the wall. I tapped the wall. Solid. Maybe the light, I offered. He didn't like being doubted. That was the first problem, because the house loved doubt. Over the next week, Derek sent me photos. A door appearing where the storage closet should be, a narrow seam in the wall that wasn't there in daylight, a brass knob that looked older than the renovation. Every photo arrived with the same timestamp range, between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. I told him to install cameras. He did. The footage showed the hallway still. No door. Then at 2:17 a.m., the camera's view softened, like the lens had fogged. When clarity returned, the door was there. Not sliding into place, not forming, just present, like it had always belonged, and the camera had only just agreed to show it. Derek called me again, voice lower. It's an extra room, he said. Did you open it? I asked. He hesitated. It's locked. Good, I said, surprising myself. He chuckled, thin. You sound scared. I'm practical, I replied. He didn't answer. The next day, Derek stopped responding. Inside smelled faintly of fresh paint and something older underneath, like wet cardboard. Derek stood in the living room, eyes bloodshot. You came, he said. I scanned him. Are you okay? He nodded too quickly. It's fine, I'm fine. It's just the room. Show me, I said, and hated how my voice shook. He led me to the hallway. In daylight, there was no extra door. At the end of the corridor, however, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. A tiny scratch mark at knee height on the wall. Then another. A series of marks like someone had dragged something along the paint. I leaned closer. They weren't random. They were evenly spaced, like tally marks. Derek swallowed. It's counting, he whispered. Counting what? I asked. He looked at me, eyes wet with exhaustion. Us, he said. That night I stayed, because curiosity is also a kind of greed. We sat in the living room with the hallway lights on. At 1:58 a.m., the air cooled. At 2:11 a.m., the hallway lamp dimmed slightly. At 2:17 a.m., the extra door appeared. No sound, no motion, just presence. The knob was tarnished, and the wood grain looked older than the house. Derek's breathing quickened. Don't, I whispered. When his hand touched the knob, he froze. His face changed, not into fear, but into recognition, like someone had called his name from childhood. He whispered, Mom? I stepped back, cold crawling up my arms, because the voice that answered, soft, familiar, didn't come from behind the door. It came from behind us. Come here, it said. Derek turned. The living room looked normal, yet his eyes tracked something I couldn't see. He took one step toward the hallway wall. toward the tally marks like the marks were a path. I grabbed his sleeve. "Derek, stop." He shook me off. Not angry, just absent. The voice coaxed again, patient. "Come here, it's your turn." The extra door clicked, unlocked. The seam in it widened slightly, like the house exhaling. I saw darkness within, not room dark, but depth dark. Derek moved toward it, not fast, not struggling like he was following a rule he'd forgotten he'd learned. I did the only thing I could think of. I turned on every light, the living room, the kitchen, the hallway. The house didn't like bright certainty. The extra door shuddered, barely. The voice behind us went quiet. Derek blinked, as if waking. He looked at his hand on the knob, then at me. "What am I doing?" he whispered. I pulled him away. We stood together, breathing hard, watching the door. The tally marks on the wall looked darker now, more of them, as if the house had counted the moment we almost gave it what it wanted. We left before dawn. Derek never moved in, and never listed that property again. But sometimes I think about the extra room, how it waited until night, how it appeared without being built, how it didn't chase, only opened when someone recognized the voice. If a house can count, it can also anticipate. So if you ever find a door that only exists at certain hours, don't test it, don't argue with it, and don't listen if you hear a familiar voice calling you from a place you never seen. Like, subscribe, and stay with Whisper Loop.